This is Always Buffering, where we talk about everything and anything. And today's subject is Caribbean Medical School. I'm Britt,
I'm Sachi.
I'm Maria.
I'm Misha.
and today the subject of Caribbean Medical School is we'll be talking about why we ended up here, because there is a wide variety of reasons why people end up going to the Caribbean for medical school. Some of them are because they've already gone through a career and they're older, and it's easier for them to get into these type of schools, and so they're essentially starting their careers over again. But for people like us, we have different reasons as to why we ended up here. So for me, I had applied to like 30 different American schools, and not a single one accepted me, let alone even gave me an interview. And I had 3 degrees, had been working on a research for congenital and vascular heart defects. I had a whole bunch of volunteer work, and I just wasn't good enough to them because my MCAT score was only a 492, which wasn't good enough for them for some reason. And I was told, why don't you go check out Caribbean schools? And then I got accepted and have started going to school in the Caribbean.
So for me, I during undergrad I was kind of like back and forth with the idea of medical school. So I studied for the MCAT, didn't take it because I had a lot of people tell me that, oh, you're not gonna make it. It's too hard to get into school. So I kind of like necessarily didn't believe in myself. So when I graduated, I studied for it, but I never took it during undergrad. But after I graduated, I had people in my family and my uncle luckily pushed me a lot that just take the freaking exam, just study, just take the exam. So 6 months out of graduating, I finally was like, you know what, study for it. I studied another few months and then I took the exam. I did okay. But then I didn't do like too well to necessarily get like into like the best school and get even not just getting in, get like financially, because that was like the biggest for me. It was the tuition.
Sure.
Because I have my undergrad loans still and I cannot afford to pay out of pocket or have like another 200K or whatever in loans. And my parents are older. We're a middle class family. We cannot afford to, just pay out of pocket or keep having too many loans. And the cosigner wouldn't work if the loans were too much. So then I weighed out my options. This was my score. I had a good GPA. So then I applied to, I think I want to say 6 or 7 schools that were, two of them were Caribbean. And then I found a few schools that didn't have necessarily like 100K or like 200, 300K tuition. And that had financial aid and like options that would keep the tuition to a minimum. So that way I could maybe get like a personal loan and figure out like how I can go about it. So then people told like my family and my uncle was like, just apply to whatever and then we'll worry about the rest. So then I applied. I got into maybe like 3 or 4 or so schools out of the ones I applied. And then turned out this school was just like the cheapest option of all. So for me, the deal breaker was really the tuition because for me, it was like at the end of the day, I want to be able to have less um in loans because I already have couple thousand in my undergrad loans. I didn't want to spend like that, and I didn't want to put that on my parents because they really can't. So yeah, for me it was dead ass. It was really the tuition. If I had the luxury to go elsewhere or like even get in like with the score I had, I would have went. But
Yeah, tuition's pretty.
tuition is yeah,
And the fact
tuition
that our tuition keeps going up.
that
Like the
too.
fact that our tuition has gone up by $2,000
And
for both basic and clinical
one
science.
and
In not even a year, it's been like 8 months or less that they've raised it $2,000.
yeah, and I mean it keeps. I mean it is what it is. And now I can't really change it, but
Yeah,
at the end of the day, that was my biggest deciding factor. And then
very valid. Yeah.
yeah.
And Maria.
So for me, I went through my undergrad. I didn't have to pay anything because my grandfather worked at the university as a professor. So I got scholarships through that. I was valedictorian, so that helped out a lot, right? I went through the process, took my MCAT. I got a really good score, applied to all these medical schools, but it just didn't seem like it was enough either, even though I had an amazing GPA. I got the interviews, but then I was told that I was either not good enough or that I wasn't fitting a certain criteria that they wanted.
I feel like that's the trend.
Yeah, it is a big trend.
Because I
So
think out of all of us, you had like the best portfolio, and you still didn't get accepted.
yeah, and I still didn't get accepted. So after that whole ordeal happened, I decided, okay, you know what? I'm just going to wait it out a little bit, see what I think, because I had already thought about a Caribbean school because of Tommy, right? But I wasn't sure if that's the route that I wanted to go. So I waited, worked at the mental health hospital that I worked at previously, and then I decided, you know what? I applied to all these schools again, still didn't get in. I'm just going to apply to Caribbean medical schools. I got into all the ones that I applied for Caribbean medical schools, but again, like Sachi said, I also didn't want to rack up a bunch of debt. Like, yes, my family can afford it, does not mean that I want to pay that much money.
At the end of the day,
Exactly.
It's not. There's like no significant difference. So like,
Exactly.
Why?
Yeah,
Exactly.
all of them are-
Because I'm still gonna get the same education, right?
Yeah.
Essentially.
At the end of the day, we still
Because
have to
there's-
step.
Exactly. And they're still accredited. So to me, that was a big thing. I didn't want to make a big dent, you know, in somebody else's pocket that was gonna help me.
Yeah. And yeah, the other thing she said accreditation. Actually, out of the 3 or 4 that are accredited, I think only 2 are double accredited,
And then one just lost it.
So out of that was a big thing. I wanted to make sure that we had accreditation. and
Luckily, our school got reaccredited.
Yeah, so that was the main. Make sure if you go to Caribbean Medical School, they are accredited. It's legit. It's not on probation. It's not taken away or any red flags. It comes down to that, I think.
Yeah. And Misha, what is yours?
So yeah, hi, my name is Misha. So basically, I wanted to be a doctor ever since I was 10. But after undergrad, I decided to take a different route and wanted to go into pharmacy. So I spent all my time in undergrad, trying to prepare for pharmacy school. So I spent 4 months studying for my PCAT. But then the school that I wanted to go to, they last minute changed it to not accepting my PCAT score. So I spent so much money on books, so much money on the test to be conducted, and then I had to cancel it because I was like, there's no point because none of the schools are accepting it for the pharmacy school. So, and also there was previous things that had occurred within the school. They had discredited my co-op, which I had done for over a year. So I had to fight them on that, and then I had to just for me to get co-op in my undergraduate degree. So then it was a lot of things, and it just disheartened me. So I was like, now what do I do? Like I didn't take that MCAT because I was preparing for the PCAT, right? So then what happened was I talked to Kansa. Kansa was already like she's my best friend, right? So I talked to her and she was like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm going to this school, and it's in the Caribbean. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't really want to go in the Caribbean school just because like I've never been outside the country or like and it was like a new like type of thing for me. So then what happened was I after I had spoken to Kansa and I've known Kansa for like 6-7 years or more, like more. Then what happened was I did some research, looked at a bunch of schools, applied without an MCAT. And this for me to pick this school specifically was because I had Kansa, which is a very big support system you need, right?
It's
Like,
huge.
for me,
Really need support here.
yeah, and because I have been struggling with mental health, and mental health does get like affected really badly here.
For sure.
And so you need that in your
Even
life.
people, I mean, even I never had mental health issues before coming here, but it
Mhm.
really
It
took
really
a toll.
yeah,
on,
it
like
took a toll.
I think all of us.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
for sure.
It's important to have like the support system.
Oh, you do.
You like whether it be friends, you need to have that. And so like that was one reason, and I was like, okay, the tuition is cheap, it's accredited. The financial aid that I take accepted that school to be like one of the schools that could accept
Canadians
they
have
yeah for the school. So like Yeah, so that was another selling point for me. So I was like, okay, like, let me take the leap of faith and maybe this was meant to be, and then I'm here.
Nice. Definitely mental health is a very serious thing.
Especially on the
Yes,
island.
I had mental health issues before coming to the school, but it was pretty like balanced, I would say. But mental health is so bad here, and we don't have any support systems through the school. Like our school, we don't really have a counselor at all. Like we don't have a psychiatrist. We kind of do, but she's not on campus. She's like literally in the town of the island, which is you have to hop onto a van and take the van into town, and
No
then you
easy
have to
access.
find. I don't even know where her office is. Do you even know where her office is?
Was in the newsletter that
I have no idea. I was told that she's in town.
it's in the school's newsletter.
Yeah,
One that
but it's not like easy to find. Is what it's.
I'm not sure where it is.
And it's not like
I
we
was
have
10 minutes walking, but I don't.
It could be. And it like we don't have. We are only allowed to go to her like once a month or something like that. That's the only thing.
4 times you can go.
Yeah.
That's free. Yeah.
Yeah, that's which only covers 4 times. Yeah, then you have to pay. Yeah, so our school only covers 4 therapy sessions with just this person. And I was just like, they do not care about our mental health, especially with the fact that a lot of professors take us down. Like, they call us
a lot of
stupid or dumb, or
Early
if
in
it
the
wasn't for
morning.
something's failing.
Yeah, it does take a toll on you.
Yeah, it really does. Like, there's no support, like, at all. And there's just people taking you down. And then, like, when you ask for help, there's not really
There's
any help.
no, yeah.
I feel like the worst part about it is I don't know why it's like this, but I know at the end of the day you're all competing, you're all like whatever. But I feel like at the end of the day your scores matter to you, and what you're doing is
Right.
It's more about you, not others. So I don't see why we have to like compete against each other and bring everyone down. It's constantly and I've seen it here more.
I've seen so much like sabotage
Yeah.
and
So I think that
taking
Manipulations, yeah. A lot of
I've seen it.
manipulations.
It's like its words are really they get to you, not just me and you guys, but like it's like you can't really relax.
You see them every day too.
Yeah.
You see the same
Yeah,
people.
we are
24/7.
in the same class,
Even outside the class.
every day.
Yeah, even
for a
outside.
minimum of 8 hours a day.
Yeah, minimum.
And I think like and I don't really know how to fix it. It's like people really need to be nice to each other, because the people, and I don't want to point fingers, but the sad reality is that everyone's always like trying to come at each other. There's always gossip.
There's no camaraderie.
There's peaceably and help each other.
And the worst part
It's not
is
that bad thing. Like we don't have to have like 20 groups and like
right.
Yeah,
Why do we have fake
cliques.
cliques?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I know we have always had that because
Yeah.
we're like we live
We live together. We all have the same.
and it's to be honest, after I moved here, I've been like my mental health has been much better, because it gives you a little bit of mental that at least I have one or two people
Right.
that always have my back no matter what. And I think everyone needs to have that, because this way you like
That's what I said. I said to Maria, if I didn't have Maria in the beginning, I don't know what would happen.
yeah, and that goes with all of us, right? Me and Misha were talking about it today, like that, you don't really have a lot of people who have your back, because people are constantly changing according to their needs. And it's
like manipulating you and taking advantage.
Yeah. And like the nicer you are, the worse it is.
Yeah.
And we're not like I'm not saying we're all perfect. We're not, but
No one's
we have to
perfect,
love
yeah.
each other and like not get offended and not point out fingers.
Or classmates are always causing problems with the professors, or always causing problems with other classmates, and then the problems they cause with the professors affect the whole class.
It does. Because one
that's another thing. Yeah, that's another thing.
And then we try to be democratic by voting as a group. And then
But-
one person's opinion is somehow more important than everybody
Then-
else's
yeah.
because they think they're the most important, so they go and complain to the deans, and then the deans, instead of listening to the whole class, they listen to that single student.
Oh yeah.
Which is
And
anytime.
it's almost always negatively affects us. Like, it's one thing if like a decision was made without the whole class's opinion, but we've gotten pretty good with doing
Getting
polls
it.
and stuff like that. I mean, even with those polls, there's still like one or two people,
Right.
or it's
I
not
know the
I think
majority.
it's not that things where they complain and to get their way instead of
It's very petty. It's
democratically
very
being
petty.
yes. And the problem we've also noticed with bullying and stuff like that is ironically it's the older people
That are
who are
blind.
bullied.
That are more mature than
Like the people our
Most of the
age
time,
in the
yeah.
mid early 20s, they're not causing the drama. It's the
She was
people.
the youngest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the people who are like 40 plus that are making up these rules and bullying people or treating us like children. They literally call us kids. Or they call us babies.
Not in a good way.
And not in a good way. Like it's not effective.
Condescending.
It's
Yeah.
condescending.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
they don't see us as equals.
Like she's always looking after us, and she's
Yeah.
like, oh, like don't worry, I'll do this for she.
Wonderful.
Yeah, she treats us like it. She's like, you can be my daughter, but in a nice way.
In a
It's
nice
always
way.
helpful, and it's
Yeah.
always like she's like, oh, I'm older, let me like do this for you. To your colleague,
She's so
she
wonderful.
goes out of her way to do these things, and it's just
Yeah.
nice to have.
There are some very wonderful people and some very shitty people.
Yeah. So even treating like a kid can be in a good way, but these
Yeah.
sometimes it's not.
No, especially when they're like, "Oh, you're just a baby."
Yeah.
What
do
do
you?
you? Okay, but here's the reality. It doesn't matter how old we are. We're all on the same exact platform right
Yeah,
now.
same thing.
Same
100%.
spot,
Yeah.
same level,
Yeah.
same knowledge.
Respect goes both
There's
ways.
no difference between you and I or you and the other person.
Yeah, age is but a
We're
number.
all in the same spot at the same time with the same thing. We're all here. We all should support each other and work together instead of trying to tear each other down. And I've been told that like that's a thing that happens in all medical schools, but I'm really seeing it here where people are like literally trying to sabotage you so bad that you give up and leave.
Mhm.
It's sad.
And
It's
it's
sad.
bad.
Very sad. Yeah.
It's very
It's
sad.
probably because we're such a small school
Mhm.
compared to other Caribbean schools or even other mainland schools.
Yeah.
Worse than high school.
We're small.
Worse than middle school. Worse than middle school. I always say, what are we, 12? Because sometimes people are, it's like middle school drama. Like, high school drama is different.
Yeah.
This stuff that goes on at our school
Yeah.
is middle school drama.
And I think like a lot of the people that come to our school, right, that are in their 40s and whatnot, older than us, right, older than 30, they've already worked in the healthcare system.
A lot of them have been nurses,
The
yeah.
healthcare system can be very toxic.
It
You
can
will
be,
have
definitely.
people talk down on you. So yeah, exactly. So like, if you're coming from a field like that, right, and you're, I don't know, hypothetically a nurse, right, and there's always somebody talking down to you, telling you don't know anything,
Right.
you're gonna go say that to somebody else. But
It's the cycle of
ideally,
abuse.
right,
Yeah.
and ideally, you want this person to be like, oh, I want this person to give me pointers, but you can't really get any pointers from the people here because all they want to do is like, oh,
One up
well,
you, yeah.
I have more experience than you. Okay, but explain that experience to me. Talk to me about your experience. Don't use it against me and be like, well, I know more than you. Okay, but I can learn from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want to teach us. They're just like, oh, my experience is so that I'm better than you.
Right.
Yeah.
Or even the professor, like one of the professors that we have.
She yeah.
Literally every question that we ask, she's like, she acts as if we're trying to like, demean her or make her seem like she's stupid, but no, we're just asking a question.
Because we don't know.
Yeah, and we understand that.
Trying to teach. Did you not? They have the same degrees. They have the same level of education. Maybe the other one has a little bit more. But when you have the good maybe one or two good professors. I mean, you cannot say a majority.
Farm
Farm
is the best.
Farm is great.
So you have her who is always trying to help you when you ask her a question, and there has been like once or twice when she wasn't too sure. She just said, "I will look at it and get back to you." She never really took it in a negative way like the others. That you're asking me a question, you think I don't know what I'm talking about. No, it's like so we need more professors
like that. Yeah.
When a classmate, she was from her personal experience of being, she's a nurse practitioner.
These are wrong.
Yeah, and the professor is like, "You're not trying to teach me, I'm trying to teach you." And it's like, no, she was just talking
Explaining,
what
yeah.
her experience was with that particular subject.
Yeah, and then you also have those nurse practitioners or nurses, I'm not really sure, think they know it all and they're like,
Very condescending towards people like us.
just as the professor.
Yeah,
I mean, the professor does know what they talk about that they're supposed to do at the end of the day. They're not just like, they have done their research, they have looked at the slides, they have done their homework, and then they're saying something, right?
Right.
So just telling them blatantly you're wrong is also, I feel like,
whenever a classmate is like,
it shouldn't be
"You're wrong," it's like, first of all, respect your professor. Second of all,
it's not okay.
if you're not sure if they're wrong, ask them immediately.
Yeah.
Or raise your hand and be like, "Oh, I'm not sure. Can you explain that better?" Because there has been a couple times where, like, I noticed they wrote something wrong on a slide, and I was just like, "Oh, do you mean this?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I said that wrong." Very, very polite about it. But the classmates that are just like straight up, just like in the middle of class, raise their hand and like, "That's wrong." Yeah.
And most of them, I feel like, are pretty approachable. Like, even no matter how they are, if you tell them that I need to talk to you and I need to ask you a question, they do make time.
Yeah.
Like 90%.
Like I would say, like 95% of the time.
Yeah.
There's only like one professor.
Yeah.
Give you the time.
Yeah.
Pathology.
And also there's a lot of like
Yeah, pathology too. No.
there's a lot of like I guess I don't know if like subtle racist remarks that are thrown out.
Not even subtle.
They're
Some
not
of them are
subtle.
just hard
Yeah.
racism,
Yeah.
especially against.
It's just a lot of generalizations. A lot of generalizations.
But like we should be professional.
Right.
Yeah.
You're
It's like,
our professor.
You're brown? Okay, I assume you're Indian.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of that.
She gets generalized the most.
Yeah.
It's not okay. I mean, okay, you don't want to make an effort to learn, then just don't say anything. Don't like.
It's the same thing with the names, right? Like,
Right.
Like-
They always like poor Priye, who the professor never says her name. Right. It's different.
It's not that hard. It's literally 5 letters.
Yeah, and
It's not
she
that
and
hard.
so and it's not. I think at this point she does it on purpose.
Yeah, she
Because-
does. And then one time she was like, "Oh, is Priya even here?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'm here." And then she was just ignoring her.
I genuinely think she thinks she's funny. However,
She's not funny at all.
It's not funny.
Racism is never funny.
No, it's not. However, she somehow seems to believe it is.
Or I'm one of the only white persons in class, and I get targeted and I get called racist because I'm white.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
And it has nothing to do with anything. Like, people just degrade me because of the fact that I have white skin.
Like what happened at research project.
Like what happened with our research project, where a member of the research project that we wanted to remove due to the fact that she wasn't participating equivalently to her portion of work.
Yeah.
We wanted to remove her, and the only way she thought to stay in the group was to accuse me, the only white person in our 6-member group,
Yeah.
of being racist.
For no reason.
For no reason. And there is no history or proof that I was racist in any manner. But she made up a story that was racist and called her racial slurs. I don't even know any racial slurs that I'm aware of. Like, when another classmate will bring up a racial slur, I'm literally like, what is that? I don't know what it is. Like, I literally have no idea what that word is. And then they don't explain it. Yeah, and then they're like pretend like they didn't say it because I have no idea what the word is.
And the funny thing is that you hang out with all of us who are like all from different parts of the
Right.
world, who are
Right.
all like, you know.
Yeah, and you enjoy the cooking.
Yeah, you
and
enjoy.
food,
You
know.
know. Sometimes you know more than we do.
Yeah, like, honestly, yeah.
And you're like, oh, this, and we're like, how do you possibly know that? So you know, I like, you know, it's just shocking to me when people say that. I'm like,
I think for a lot of people, I don't know if it's just because the people that have said this are people that are older.
Yeah. It's
So-
all older people. Yeah.
I don't know. From my perspective, I think that I don't know if it's something to do with their generation and the way they think that it's weird
Maybe.
for a white person to be educated on other people's cultures without it having a second, like a second layer to it.
Yeah, all they
Yeah.
see is that my skin is white. They never ask about my past. Because
Right.
growing up, I was one of the only white persons where I lived. And so I was exposed to all of this different culture and I just became a part of it. And I accepted it and I learned about it because I like being respectful towards other religions. But people just look at me and immediately judge me, oh, I'm white. I don't know what I'm talking about. Or, oh, I'm white, I must be racist. And it's upsetting because I'm like, I literally cried about it and couldn't even go to school for a couple days.
Yeah, it's already
Because it had hurt me so badly
yeah.
to be accused of this.
Yeah,
Not only in our group, but in front of the deans.
I know.
Right.
Like all 3 of our deans got involved in this.
Yeah, and all for what? For her to just.
All for her to
Dip
drop
the
out. Yeah. All for her to drop out after all of this. Yeah.
And the thing is, she was okay with it too. It's the other professor who also made it about racism.
Yeah, the professor
that made it
also
worse.
Yeah.
That made it worse.
Yeah.
and the professor should have been neutral. I mean,
It's one incident. Another group is having similar issues.
Same professor.
Yeah, no, different professor, but the same similar issues and making it about racism. Whereas just
I hate when like nothing else works. People are using the race card, and then in your case, they're using the reverse.
Right.
Like, it used to be the opposite, but now it's fucked up because racism is such a huge thing. Now they're like using it on the white people,
which is unfair, yeah.
which is not fair. I
Because
mean,
then it's like the boy who cried wolf. Because people are gonna be like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
And the thing is, like, you
You
see it
can't
at our
abuse it.
school.
You can't boost it, yeah.
You see it at our school so much because let's be realistic. The majority of our school are people of color,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So like,
There's like 6 white people in class.
we have
50.
right
Yeah.
out of 50 people. So the reality of the matter is that for the first time in our lives, the majority are, the colored people.
Yeah.
And I think that for some people that are older than us,
They're really stuck in their.
they're really not only stuck in their generation, but they're really stuck in their ways so much that they can't see that the younger generation does not think the same way that they do anymore.
Right. Because our generation, we're just so open and honest.
Yeah, we don't think about racism.
We don't even think about the facts.
No.
Like, I didn't even realize until somebody pointed out to me that I wasn't friends with any of the white people in class.
Right.
Like,
we didn't think about that.
I didn't realize that until somebody said, "Do you realize you don't hang out with any of the white people?" And I just went, I didn't even realize I did that.
Yeah.
Because we don't vibe. I feel like I don't vibe with the other.
I mean,
white people.
2 or a few of them are very racist.
Very
Most
highly,
people-
highly personal experiences with those two.
I mean, oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's
Like, we have a very large group of Indian and Pakistani friends, and the guy just comes up and goes and declares himself the king of the Indians.
Yeah,
And he
basically.
never met us, never know who we are,
Doesn't know
just
anything
saw that
about
we
us.
all sat together and just declared himself. the
And
king
when
of the
it comes to actually shit talks about the same people
And
who
then
we
she
call.
talks deep, like he made fun of my cooking, he made fun of the way my food smells, and I'm just like,
Then why are you trying to? You're calling yourself family, but you're
yeah,
really
like,
shitting.
and you're like, you're asking me to cook you the same food that you're literally telling is like,
Right.
smells bad. Like,
Makes no sense.
makes no sense.
And always wanting to know what we're eating, like what she's eating. She's like, oh, you guys always cook a lot. You guys
Every time, like, what are you eating? What's going on? Like,
It's like
Yeah,
it's
it's
not med students, bro.
Can we mind our own?
But yeah, can you mind our own business?
I really don't
And then the other thing, it's like we can do whatever the hell we want. We were having a conversation today about something personal, and the third person comes. Are you guys should talk about me? You're not like not everything about we just because we don't want to publicize our life in front of 20 people, or we don't feel comfortable because we're not friends telling you something about our personal life.
It's another
Me and
business.
Nisha are very private. Yeah, we don't like. I don't like talking about my personal to anyone. Period. Not like certain things I don't really
Exactly.
So I don't want to be telling like
A person
random
we
classmates.
barely know.
Yeah.
Who we're also probably
So
going
not-
to talk to
it's-
other
Yeah,
people.
100%. Yeah.
Self-centered. I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, I try to get over it and I try to ignore it. It's not that big of a deal. But at the end of the day, why can't we just mind our own business? Like we're not talking
Like
about
almost every time Maria and I are talking with like Ashley or Helena or something like that, he always comes up and like introduces himself into the conversation.
Who?
the racist.
Oh.
I just ignore it at this point.
The smaller one.
You know,
Younger?
you know what? I have learned that sometimes, and I'm not saying that it's with everybody, but when I was working, right, at the mental health hospital, I met this racist guy, right? And I learned that sometimes it's not necessarily that they just don't have enough exposure to those people, right? Because it's a learned thing, right? It's learned. Like my grandfather was racist, right? Like we've talked about this. Like he was very racist.
Yes. Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah, he was a Ku Klux Klan member, you know.
What?
Yeah, he was.
Yes.
Yeah, he was a KKK member.
No!
And
That's
his
the cult, the white supremacy cult.
and his you know, for him it was difficult.
Yo,
His grandson
Wait, talk
married.
about the cult situation a bit more.
Well, like
I don't even know what it is.
my father's
Enlighten me.
grandfather was
Yeah.
in the KKK.
Yeah.
He was a Grand Dragon.
Okay,
But
well.
Which is a high rank.
it's a high ranked member, yeah. But
Was he involved in any of the atrocities that
I never asked him, obviously, but he was very racist, right?
Makes sense, of course.
He was very racist. However, for him, it was very difficult, I guess, seeing my dad with, you know, my mother. But after me and my siblings were born, like, he left that life behind. Because he learned that not all people are like that, right? He
You
still
were the
had
change he needed.
yeah. So
Sometimes
sometimes that's what it takes, right? So like with these people, these particular people in our class, right? I think it takes time, right? You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Like,
That's why we see that in our generation, right?
Right.
If we look at like you said, if we look at like our parents and grandparents, I mean, I never met my grandparents, but I'm sure if they were alive, there might have been like certain things that they were very stringent about that were like it's not a big deal.
Like my parents who are older, like they're pretty racist. Like if I were to bring you guys to my parents' house, I'm not sure how that would go.
Right.
But they specifically dislike like black people for some reason. I don't know why.
And it's a learned thing.
Yeah.
So I think like at least with them, it's like it doesn't matter how much you say that you travel because if you travel and you're not there to really learn about the people, right? You're just there to do whatever you're there to do, right? It's not necessarily a trip to learn about these people.
Right.
Then you're just tolerating.
Right.
Everything that you're saying, like even like the comments on her food, it's I'm tolerating you, but I'm still gonna pick at you.
Yeah.
I'm tolerating you. I'm gonna ask you these questions, but I'm still gonna pick at you.
Yeah.
Because I subconsciously don't like you. Like I may like you as a person, but the way that you look bothers me.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with like, oh, bring me food. I want your food. But if you're like eating it,
Right. So do you really want my food when you just said it smelled weird? So like I definitely get that. I definitely understand it, but I think that it's more like
It's a work in progress.
yeah, it's definitely a work in progress.
like festivals that we celebrate. It makes I to be honest, till this day I don't really get it what it is, or like I can't understand these people. I'm very ignorant. I just ignore it and move on.
You're not ignorant. You're just.
You're not
Yeah, I know this thing. I try to be ignorant.
The people like but But then when the religious holiday is there, they're like posting about it on Snapchat and Instagram and stuff like that. And it's like, do you even know what this means? Do you even know why we're celebrating this particular day? What this is about? What's its purpose? Like,
And I think a lot of it too is like they want to feel included.
Yeah,
I think like they want to feel. They want to be included, but I don't think they understand completely why they're not being included. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Like we have no problem with you being included if you're respectful.
Yeah.
However, you can't understand why you're being so disrespectful.
Yeah.
So that's why we don't invite you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't understand that like that racism, that disrespect is really like bullying. It is 100% bullying, like,
Right.
and that it can really, really affect people. Like,
And it's
bullying that we
many lives.
Yeah, like we unfortunately lost a friend of ours way back. It was MD2, MD3,
Two.
MD2.
Yeah.
March. Yeah, it was in March, right?
Mhm.
Our friend unfortunately took his life because of the stress of school, as well as some bullying that was going on, and other stresses, and it's really difficult. And I've been through so much negative stuff that I definitely contemplated it at one point or another, because I just couldn't get through it anymore. It was just too much. And my question I kept asking is, why me? What did I do to deserve this? Why have I been targeted? Why does this go on every day? Like, I felt like a little kid in middle school where they don't want to go to school anymore and they fake being sick, so they don't. That's exactly what I felt like. Like, I just wanted to not go to school because I was so afraid to go to school, to go through the stuff that I was going through. And it's terrible because we're literally full grown adults in a graduate school working to become medical professionals.
Right. Yeah.
And some people are bullying their classmates to the point of death. And that's just not okay.
And see,
Yeah, and professors like that don't help either, who are constantly coming in the morning and starting your day off with like you're gonna fail, you're
like
gonna not pass.
like
That's it, you're done.
Yeah.
this semester I was telling Gabe about the fact I hate going to school in the morning, because first thing
It's a negative day.
my first is stupid. I'm dumb. I'll never succeed in anything. If it wasn't for curves, I would have never passed.
You're in the red zone.
I'm in the red zone.
What was it? 90% of you are in the red zone.
Red zone, 99%.
However, like in our class, like we all share our score, right?
And
Like
you can see your ranking now.
Yeah, and you can see your ranking in that class, and you think, okay, but I'm not in the red.
Yeah.
I know I'm not in the red, but you're giving me second thoughts about myself.
Yeah, you're just making me question myself.
Yeah, it's like I know what my raw scores are, and I know my raw scores are passing scores.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're over here telling me I'm stupid. Like, I know what I need to succeed, and I'm doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if you don't value their opinion, it does affect you.
Subconsciously.
Yeah, subconsciously it does, because you're starting off your morning with negativity.
Right.
Like
First thing in the
first
morning.
thing in the morning, and then it sets the tone for your entire day.
And it just makes you not want to be productive because you're so down.
Yeah.
And it's every
Single day. For yeah.
For 3 months now.
Yeah.
Every single
5
day.
days a week.
We're told we're stupid. We're dumb.
Counts.
And then when she complains about us to other professors, apparently, and they're like, "What are you talking about? Like, that's probably the smartest class that we've ever had."
I mean, yeah.
And she's sitting there shit talking us.
Our average,
Yeah,
class averages have been higher than
highest that they've ever had, and they've told
Compared
us.
to others, yeah.
They've told us that our averages are the highest.
And I'm 99% sure they're gonna see that change when we take them off.
Yeah, because like
It's gonna
up until now, only 15 to 20, being generous, 15 to 20 people pass in the first try. I realistically believe at least possibly 50% of our class will pass on the first try.
Right.
Because
we have
very smart people.
Yeah, and we also have a good amount of people who have had like a background, you have pharmacists, nurses,
Pharmacists, nurses,
just
people who did research.
yeah, and we have like a good amount of hardworking people, not necessarily.
We all support each other. Besides that, like outer group of people who try to sabotage people, we're not just trying to support people. We're just trying to support each other, giving everybody hints and our study notes and sharing and working together as a group to succeed. And it's like, and I think that that's very different from the other classes, especially the classes before us.
Even though we're considered the most dramatic class.
Yeah, we are the most dramatic class.
we
hands
are.
down. We were
That's
also the
actually-
biggest class. I think we still are the biggest class, right?
No, I think it's MD1.
MD1 is no bigger. Yeah,
Well, that's because they have them.
they have them.
Yeah, it's gonna get smaller.
Yeah, it's gonna go small. I mean, we started off with 150 people. Now we have 50 people.
Hardly.
Yeah.
And
I know it's really
Transfer.
Oh my god, the attendance policy. That's something.
Oh my god.
So they used to not care about our attendance, and it went from they didn't care about our attendance because it didn't affect
right.
our grades, because like we are statistically the smartest class so far on average. And so we just didn't show up to class because we didn't need to show up to class to get the same grades that we were getting if we showed up to class.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got mad because our group of people weren't showing to class and still passing. And so then they implemented the attendance policy, which they claim is due to accreditation. But the thing is, we're the only Caribbean medical school that in our islands that we're aware of that does attendance. And we have to maintain a 70% attendance or higher, or we get 20% off our exam score. And then if you read the rest of it, it says if you do it again, you're not even permitted to take the exam.
Yeah, it's a
Which is an
one-time
automatic
thing,
zero.
Yeah, it's a one-time zero.
Yeah.
Realistically, though, when they came, the day that they came in to do our accreditation, right? Since they always
Wasn't most of our class here?
No, most of our class was gone.
Was
Yeah, so that upset the dean.
Was it?
Yeah, most of our class was gone that day. And
They told
not
me to not be there because they knew I was problematic.
it didn't like only upset the dean, it upset the guy that was walking around with him. So like realistically I think that it's part of it, but I don't think that I think that everybody knew that they were going to be there.
Yeah.
They could have taken that one day that they were going to be there, and maybe we wouldn't have had such a big change in our policy. However, there's probably a lot of things that played into it too.
I think the funniest thing was
multiple factors.
Right.
I think the absolute funniest thing though, because they know that I don't have a filter and I'll tell the amount of people, professors included, who came up to me and went, "Please do not
show up.
Do not interact with the creditors or the people from head office because they know I'm not afraid to say what I think." And so they were afraid of what was going to happen and they told me not to go to school. Like, so many people.
The thing is that, like, that right there tells you what they know that there's things that are wrong.
Yeah.
Right? They know that they have this little pool of students that they pick from.
Yeah, the brown nosers.
Right, and walk around with them and, do whatever they have to do to make school look good, right? But realistically, there's a lot of things that need to be fixed. And if they don't fix them, how do they expect their students to get any better? We can only be as good as our professors. We can only be as good as our program.
Yeah. And then the fact that did you see the cockroach on the stairwell today?
No.
It was like this freaking big, and it was just like dead on the stairwell. Or the termites in the bathroom, the kitchen, and how the back stairwell always floods when it rains.
I mean, that's just this island problem.
Or the fact that our toilets. Half of our toilets are always out of order, or they don't have toilet paper.
Bad plumbing.
Do you remember that one day where literally half of the toilets were out of order and the other half were out of toilet paper?
Yeah, that was a bad day. That was a bad day.
And people had to.
You weren't at school.
Yeah, you were. People I realized that the toilets were out of like the bottom floor was out of order, so I went like took the toilet paper from those and put them into the ones that were working because like I didn't
You're a
want
real
people.
one for that.
I didn't want people to take a squat and realize there was no TP, you know, like
Yeah.
The amount of times that has happened, like
Right.
That's crazy.
Because
That's
most of our
somebody wants to text
classmates,
somebody else.
yeah, most of our classmates are female, so like,
Like we need help.
yeah.
or like that.
But to be honest, with the bugs and the like, I actually am like I've learned to be like okay.
Immune
And
system,
I'll be like, oh my god. Now it's like I've accepted. It's
Yeah.
just
It's
It's part of the island living, yeah.
or the
It's-
lizards.
it's fine. It
Yeah.
doesn't bother me anymore.
No, it
it's
doesn't
okay.
bother me. But
Initially, it was a nightmare.
It was just so funny because it was just such a big cockroach just dead on the stairwell.
Right.
It's awkward when you see a rat or something dead, right? And you're just like
The rats.
you're like walking, right? You're walking and you make eye contact. You make eye contact with the person that's cleaning, right? And you're like looking at the rat, you're looking at the cockroach, and they're looking at it too. And they have a broom and they look at you and they walk away.
They don't even pick it up.
Yeah.
They're like, it's your problem now.
Like, give me. I'll do it. But don't stare back at me like we're looking at who's gonna do it.
Way back in MD1 when we were doing the wet cadaver lab, and I'm sitting there and I'm manning the camera for the online students, and I look up and there's a spider the size of my hand right behind.
I will never forget
Professor.
that.
Stars in your hands.
Size of my hand.
No, that's
big.
That was big.
It was
No.
behind.
I can't.
And so everybody on this side of the room who was facing him just burst out and screamed.
Actually, yeah, I was one.
And then the people who were facing me turned around and it just goes into the cadaver fridge.
Yeah, no, that thing was huge. Like that thing was
Inside the
huge.
cadaver.
Inside the cadaver
So it's
fridge.
eating the cadavers?
It could have been eating the cadaver.
We don't know.
We don't know. We never found it.
You know that lab also has like windows on.
Yeah. So it could have just come in. But we don't know where it went. But it was, and then the fact is,
It was actually the size of my face. Like
It
that
was
thing was
It
huge.
was huge. It was feeding on something.
yeah.
Cadavers, 100%.
Dr. Kraken is such a chill professor.
He's
He
so
just
sweet.
turns around and he goes, "Yeah, that happened."
Like, the way we freaked out, it was something.
Which is fine, but like seeing him not freak out.
I think he's
He's
He's so chill.
so chill and he's such a nice person. He tried to make us feel better, made us feel worse when
Yeah.
he said that this happened all the time.
Yeah, and then that doesn't make us feel any better. That makes us afraid of going to the fridge now.
Right, because he had all of us help him close to the
Take
house. So
bottles out of the
afterwards,
fridge.
nobody was like, "No, you
And
can
no
put them back in."
And no one wanted to help him. That was worse.
Yeah, we were like, we don't want to
Poor
touch
guy
that.
is like holding the bag. He's trying to lift this freaking entire body and do it on his own. I'm like, oh my god.
No, it's not gonna happen. After the hand spider experience, no one wanted to help with the cadavers.
You just see the guy struggling on his own.
Whatever jumps on you, bro.
It was big. It was so
It was-
like.
Would you like hold it?
I mean, I probably would have held it, but it was just so shocking to see it crawl out of the fridge and then crawl back into the fridge.
Yeah.
Like it was
You
just so.
probably died if it went in the
It was just
Exactly.
no. It's not necessary.
Yeah, she like looked at it, and then I was like, "What is she looking at?" And I jumped on her, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're grabbing
Because
her.
I was just sitting there. Camera was centered where, because you know how he moves around and I have to move the camera. And I just like, I'm stopped and I'm staring at the wall and everybody's like, why are you staring at the wall? And they all turn to it and then the screams start.
Yeah, it's on recording.
They're audio recording.
Yeah.
There's an audio
Really?
recording.
It's not recording. All you see is him cutting and going, "Oh,
And
yeah,
then
that
he
happened."
You just
Going back.
all of us, and we all screams and he just.
Where was I during this, bro?
You were in the other lab.
Maybe you had a
Oh, I wasn't with you guys.
You were
I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't with you
You
guys.
guys
Yeah.
were from lab. Because there's so many of us that have this
Yeah,
class.
yeah.
Yeah. I was in a very big device. It was quite terrifying, for sure. Because it's just like little beady eyes.
Yo! Scary. It was almost as scary as the one that almost got me in my apartment.
I like
I tried to kill it. It hopped on my hand. It was like right here. I was like,
And she like, whoa. What happened? Here's a one. It was wild. Yeah,
It was on
she
top
was taking the trash out and it hopped out of the trash into her hand. And she just started
Yeah,
screaming. She just started screaming, and so I just poked it off, and then I was sitting there, and I have a video of it where I'm sitting there and posting
she was
it.
poking it.
And it was like
Why would
doing
you poke
this.
Different.
I mean, who do you call when there's a lizard in your apartment? Me.
Sure. Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, Crocodile Dundee over here, yeah. But the lizards are pretty bad here, for sure.
I love how we went from our traumatizing school experience to
That's
this
like spiders.
ended on a good note.
This is why it's called always buffering about
Always
everything
buffering,
and
yeah.
anything. It's like that game of how you start from one thing and you end up in the other. How many options does it take to get to that point, right?
The least, the better. No.
I think the worst thing about this island though is the island men
Oh my god.
who are super inappropriate. Like my literal first day out on this island, I got asked if I could be bought.
That's crazy.
Like this old guy, I think he was like 50 or so. He was like drunk because he was in the bars.
Aren't they always?
And he was in the bars in town, and it was like Tokyo, you know, where like the bus stop is, and you know how there's like all bars at that bus stop, right? And so he was like, I was with a couple people, and he like points it at my crotch and goes, "Are you a virgin?" And I went, "Huh?" Because I didn't understand him. And he goes, He goes, "Are you a virgin?" And I went, "No, but what question?
What type of question is that?
And he goes, "Oh, so can I buy you then?" Because apparently,
What the hell?
to see if you're willing to have sex with people.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So if you say yes, they're less likely to continue the conversation because you're not having sex with them.
That's not a good conversation starter.
No. And that's happened multiple times to me.
Me.
So like here the paler your skin
There's,
are, the worse it is. Like, one of the first times I was ever walking out with Maria and the guy, you know, he was driving by and reached out of his car and tried to grab me while he was driving by. Or like the people who will follow me, or like what happened in front of the grocery store with you, where I got super protective because the guy like almost grabbed me.
Literally almost tried to grab her.
And she was like, "Leave me alone," and he was like, "Oh, you're no fun," and she's like, "Yeah, I don't whatever. What did you say? You were like, I don't deal with creeps or something."
Yeah,
This is one of the only places that I've seen where
There's so
they
much-
think
They're
they
very
think it's funny to swarm women.
yeah.
Like
And only
there's
the
literally 3 of us. There's 10 of you guys. Like, yeah, essentially, like, you guys are very thin. Like, we could probably take you guys, yes, because you guys are super thin.
Yeah.
But the point is that, like, when there's a police officer staring at us
And just laughing.
it's not funny.
It's just laughing. Like me, Maria and Sachi went into town to get some stuff at the store,
Yeah.
and Maria was getting her import, and we're walking up to the port authority, and so there's a police officer in the port authority, and these guys just start harassing us and like surround us, and
And it's like they came out of nowhere
Yeah.
all over. We're like in
It's
the
behind your mom.
they
Because they
searched
just
us.
laugh.
And I like immediately got defensive and
and the
was
cop
like,
in front is just laughing.
yeah, the cop was just laughing.
They're just sitting there laughing, and I'm like,
And then I told them to get the fuck away and fuck off. And then as we're leaving the Port Authority, the guys are sitting there like,
they're
"Oh,
laughing.
love, I loved it when you told me to go fuck myself." And stuff like that. Yeah. They're like so weird.
Did you not? It's. I mean, I can't even count the number of instances once me, Misha, Rida, and like a few others were at Massey. We're in the middle of Massey talking. A security guy's right there, and a guy just comes out of nowhere. He's like stands. It was one of the other class.
On who does
He was there too, but comes, he just stands there and he like looks up and down and then like he does it and then he says something really creepy or weird. I don't remember what exactly he said, but it was so freaking inappropriate to my face. I've never had someone like say
She was
stuff like-
shaking.
I was shaking, and you know me, I'm not like I'm very defensive.
Yeah.
When people are creepy at me, like my answers are like this. I didn't know what to say. I froze like I'm not a person who breathes often, so I was just like clueless what to say. And then thank God he was there, so he said something. And then 10 seconds later, like I walked away because I couldn't even process
it's
what's going
scary.
on. I'm like trying to understand what just happened, and then I was like, why did I not like say something back? Like what just happened? I'm like trying to process it, right? So I go inside, I'm like thinking, and then he comes yelling to the Raman while the security is just standing and
Yeah, and threatening
he's,
him.
threatening him that catch me outside, this and that, and
Catch me
that.
outside,
Well,
yeah.
all he said was, "That's not a way to talk to a girl. Like, what is wrong with you? Why are you talking to her like that?" Or something, you know, basically.
And then we got scared, and then we even like pepper spray.
Yeah, and then I'm
No.
looking at the security, like, are you kidding me right now? You're not gonna say anything, or
They
you're
just turned the other cheek. Literally.
Yeah,
What's the point? And yet,
Like,
when we walk into a store, the security will just follow us because of the fact that we're like not black.
He just stood there, and then like the stuff he said was so concerning. I was worried for him. Like,
yeah,
we
we
were
really
together.
like yeah.
And he was like, "No, I'm okay." I was like, "No." Like we were worried
We
for our
knew
friend.
it was not okay though. We knew.
Yeah.
Like
Because
it
he was even like
like the stuff he said was like you could see it on his face.
yeah.
He was
Because
really
you
nervous.
never know.
And that's something. Like,
Right.
you don't. All he did was he was just trying to help out friends.
Yes. No, the men here are so
And they could do
wild.
next level stuff.
And we know
Yeah,
that,
no.
right?
Did you hear what happened? Like Maria was walking to school one day, and a guy walked up and was just holding a gun.
Yeah, he was just holding it, and it to me it was weird because I had never seen this person before, right?
Yeah.
Like I am used to seeing people walk around with guns because I'll be honest, where my mother's from, it's not odd, right? Even if it's illegal, it's not odd to see people walking around with guns, but you just learn to like be like, oh, okay, good morning, hi, walk away, right? But this guy literally walked with me the whole time.
To school.
The whole time to school. I thought it was so weird because like he even goes like, oh yeah, you live up there, right? And
Yeah.
and I said, I was like, no, I live farther up, right? And he's like, oh, that's odd because I see you walking down here with a white girl and sometimes with these other brown girls. So to me, that was weird. I was like, oh, so you're
Watching us.
where are you walking?
Watching us very
We're watching.
Because like
He knows.
Yeah, because like where we live, there's like no way for someone to be watching us
Unless they're like 18
they're
or
like
something.
really
Standing outside
And
reading
see, after that day, I haven't seen this guy again. But like to me, that was odd because like you obviously hang around here enough to know that I go to school right down the street.
And then you know where we're living.
And
you know who I walk with. You know who I live with. And you know that we're all females because you did not mention a man walking down.
Yeah.
You didn't mention a guy living up there. You know that we're all women living basically together.
Yeah. That shit. And then like
And then when we had a male living with us, no one bothered us.
Right. Yeah. And then like
Makes sense.
the instances of violence that occur for sure on this island, like how some of you guys witnessed that 26-year-old who got executed right down the street from school.
Yeah, it was.
Or the MD1 student who got assaulted right outside of school and
couldn't get treatment and had
to be taken back to the States, so there wasn't proper treatment here. So he literally got beaten with a hammer.
Right.
Yeah.
And just like all the random violence. Oh, did you know that I think it was Noelia said that she like got robbed at gunpoint.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She had nothing.
She had nothing.
Yeah, she had nothing.
She was gonna run. They
Yeah.
took her gun to her head,
Yeah,
and she just had her phone.
yeah,
She
That's-
offered her phone, but she was on a run, so she didn't really have
yeah.
any
That's
longer.
why. Yeah, it's crazy.
Awful. Like I
I count the number of times we get harassed and bullied by weird men.
Every
I
day.
lose
Every
it's-
day. And the thing is, like, I dress more masculine because of the fact that I don't want to get bothered, but it doesn't matter here. It doesn't matter. If you're white, if you're
You
less,
just have to be a girl.
yeah, if you're a girl, but like the lighter your skin is, the worse it is. The more female you are, the worse it is. Like,
yeah.
I feel like no, but to be honest though, I feel like not just that. Like even I was talking to Chandler,
mhm.
and she said that people are creepy towards her too. She doesn't even. Yeah, I think you just have to be a female.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
And like they don't have any sort of respect or any sort of.
don't get me wrong. Like I've gotten catcalled too, and I've gotten been told all this stuff, but like I try to just like walk through it, right?
Yeah.
And just
You
get
don't
away
it's funny. Get
through
away.
it. But I think that let's be realistic, because they see that I am bigger than them. They're like, realistically, I'm not gonna go for that because I know she can fight me up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like even like when I've gone to the store, right, and I get catcalled or something, or like when I had my short hair that I got called a faggot. I know. I told
There's this one guy who was insulting her in Spanish, didn't know that she spoke Spanish.
yeah, in the store, and I was just like, I turned around in front of Britt too. I turned around and I was like, I'm tired of you saying this shit to me in Spanish. Like, I know what you're saying. He's like, you speak Spanish? I was like, yeah. He's like, I thought you were white. And I was like,
You're like, and you point at me, you're like, you see that one? That's white.
yeah, I was like, I literally looked. She's white.
You don't look white.
I don't look white.
No.
And I was just like, for me, it's not offensive.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm half white, but
Still,
the thing is that like you're speaking in a language
that
that I understand. I'm gonna answer back.
Yeah.
Like, why are you even offending me? I didn't say anything to you.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything to you. So like,
People are.
it's crazy because you want to get acquainted with the people here.
But
You
you
want
can't.
to try to be nice to the people
And
here,
some
but some
people are
are
genuinely nice,
right.
but
Some
because
people are.
like majority are like so messed up, it's so difficult to put your trust into someone because
Right.
it's like you don't know if you're gonna get to use
Like our neighbors.
Right.
it's like even if you do try to give someone a chance, because majority of the times the men, at least from what we've seen, they don't stop being weird to you. They don't stop saying all these things. It's like constant too, right? That was like that 1 or 2 weeks when it was like every single day for me. Remember I told you guys I mean I used to walk alone in the beginning and
Yeah.
then every single day, and I was like, why do I? And then I would talk to you guys and you were like, no, like it's like, it's a little weird. And then I noticed that when we walk in groups, it's nothing.
It's like less bad or
It's
not.
less bad or like.
I think
And then-
that the majority of the people here, I don't know if it's
And I know there are a lot of nice, helpful, and genuine. I don't want to generalize it and say that everyone's bad,
Yeah.
right.
but
There are bad seeds everywhere.
There is,
Yeah.
but like we've noticed so many here.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
100%.
It's a lot.
Because we're like foreign.
Because don't get me wrong, there's a lot of countries where you see that, like like in Mexico, like in India,
Oh yeah.
all these places, right? They're
Yeah.
also considered third world countries,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
Like, but
They're not
these
like this.
people are not
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah. Not to this extent.
Not to this extent.
Yeah.
Colonizers.
Because
Yeah.
in India, you tell a guy, back off,
They back
they
off.
back off.
Yeah.
And tell
Or
the
you
people
start
to come
screaming.
on top, yeah.
Or- Yeah.
To beat him.
Right, or you tell somebody, he's bothering me. Other people are gonna
Yeah,
react.
right.
They laugh.
Here they laugh or they will. Yeah. Or you can't even do that because they're all gonna make a cult and come against you.
Yeah,
Really?
they're gonna come against you.
Yeah.
They're in the wrong.
So like I was going to Gabe's the other day and like this old guy was falling my hand and there was a female police officer and she just started laughing at it. As I'm like trying to get my hand out of this guy. Like he
You
just
think
ran
it's
to grab my hand.
funny getting
Yeah.
your ass. It's
Yeah,
funny.
they think it's funny.
Female?
Yeah, it was a female cop and she
And
was
they
laughing
think it's
at it.
funny. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell?
See, and then there's the few that do know how to communicate, right?
Yeah.
Properly with you. Like, I've seen a couple of them like that. Like, there's this one guy that sits by the school every morning when I show up at 7, right? And he's super sweet and he's like, oh, good morning, beautiful. I hope you have a nice day. That's fine. That's fine. I have no problem with it. I don't care.
Yeah, he doesn't cross the line.
Yeah.
Right. The problem is when you touch me. Or when you're up in my face.
Yeah.
Like this close.
Yeah.
Like when we had that situation with you. Like, Britt was right next to you. I had like 3 guys behind me. You guys had 3 guys behind you. I was just like, my first instinct was like,
Protect Sachi.
Britt,
Yeah.
can you take those? And I have to watch my back.
I didn't
if
know
I
what to do. I was just
Yeah.
running.
Like,
I was like, I don't know where to go.
Because me and Maria are both fighters. And we were just like, our first instinct is protect Sachi because, like,
I'm just like holding my water bottle, like ready to.
the thing is that like when you have to constantly watch your back, like I get it.
Pay attention.
I get it. It's a third world country. I get it. It's another culture. However, like even in Mexico, I don't have to watch my back.
Yeah.
Even though people tell, oh, the cartel, oh, this. Bro, the neighbors probably part of the cartel. Yeah, exactly.
They
the
don't
neighbors
bother
probably
people.
part of the cartel, but he's gonna say good morning.
Yeah. Or like
Yeah.
just today I was walking down to Sunrise and like this van drove by and they like honked their horn and scared me and then
Right.
all of the guys on the van just started laughing.
Oh yeah, they were.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a
They
constant.
randomly laugh.
Yeah.
This morning, did you hear that? Like randomly van going honk and then they just laugh.
I think because I think some of them try to like get our attention.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've had vans where I'm literally trying to cross the street
Yeah.
and they will open their van thinking, I don't know if it's they think that I'm gonna get in, because it's the same van every single time. They know I'm not gonna get in, right? At this point. But they open it anyways and they try to not let me cross the street when I'm trying to cross.
Or the car speeding up when you're trying to cross.
Yeah. He tried to, yeah.
Every day, but today we were so close. I thought we were.
He wasn't
They're like
stopping.
20
He wasn't
And he
stopping.
looked at us dead in the eye, and he
And
was
you
speeding
sped up.
That's why I'm telling you, they're like, oh, this one's 20 points, that one's 30
dude.
points.
Fucking
Look,
Gabe.
literally looked at us dead in the eye, and he was speeding up. I'm like,
Yeah.
So like I told Gabe this close, like ran and I like cut me shut.
Gabe will just walk down through the quick because he's like, oh, they're that far away. And I told him, I'm like, I can't do that. And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, I gotta wait for the car to pass because when I step out on the road, they speed up. And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, they speed up.
They speed up.
Like, you can ask any of us. We step out on the road.
Is it a girl?
They speed up. I don't know because it doesn't happen to Gabe.
And
Is
I
it
think
towards girls?
I think it's
you
just
know, I don't know because I've walked with Britt before, and when I had my shorter hair, when I had it cut like a guy, let's be honest, when I had it cut like a guy, I didn't have that problem.
Maybe it is.
So I don't
Because like,
know.
you can just hit the
I'm
girl,
getting
knock her out.
You're like, I'm just gonna chop it
Yeah,
off.
like, you can just kidnap the girl if you just run her over. Run her over, knock her out, take her away.
That could be the motive.
Because, like, that's what makes sense. Because why would they speed up? Because it's always male drivers that do it. It's never female.
Yeah,
I've never
The
seen.
females do it too.
I've never seen a female.
The couple of times that we've crossed the street that it's been female drivers, they've slowed down.
They like stop.
They've literally stopped.
They will stop.
Now we gotta pay attention. We gotta ask the guys how.
Yeah.
It's with them when they're
Because it takes so
Yeah,
long.
let's ask them. Yeah,
Speed
let's ask
up.
them.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of people that we've talked about it, and they're like, oh, we've never
seen it.
encountered that, or we like they've never talked to us like that. And we're like, man,
Speeding up.
maybe we do need to do a research.
Male versus female.
Primary research. Because that we can actually
Yeah.
collect data.
Well, Trinity.
No, I don't know. I feel like being here.
It's very
It's been a
dangerous.
ride, and it's been dangerous. Like if you
Mentally
don't have people to like lean on, it's hard.
Yeah, no.
Support system.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, if you don't have system, it takes up.
Because one thing is going to class, right? Because we're stuck there 8 hours.
8
That's one
hours.
thing.
Minimum 8 hours.
The rest of the time that we're here and we're literally getting a culture shock every single day,
Every
because
day.
even though we've all been here like
For
a
a
year, we still haven't been able to acclimate because of the way that it is.
We always have to be on guard.
We do.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because even if one of the girls, right, a native girl here, gets attention, right? They act one way, but when they give us attention, it's completely different. It's completely different. It's like the respect goes away.
Yeah. Well, it's not like they didn't respect that,
Right, but you know,
There's no relation,
It's
right?
actually
Everyone
more
knows everyone else.
right,
But here, oh, who did they know? Like, you know, we
right.
Yeah.
pretty quickly. Yeah.
Pavan's his construction dude. He's working, and they heard these guys like hooting and hollering at a girl, and he goes, "Oh, you know, being curious, want to see what it is." It was a 13-year-old girl.
Oh man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and they're telling her like, "Hey, come have my babies. I want to fuck you." Blah blah blah. 13-year-old girl. And these are all like men who are 35.
Actually, we had this was like a long time over about a year ago. We were fairly new. I know we were at a restaurant. I don't say the name, but me and one of our friends were in the bathroom. There was, kid you not, 14 or 15-year-old girl asking us where we're from, whatever. And then she saw us, like she saw the people who we are with, and we were at the table. And then she was like asking us about one of our friends if he was single. Oh, she wanted to sleep with him, and she was like 14 or 15. She would not have it older than 16. And I looked at her, I'm like, "How old are you?"
Oh
Like, it was really concerning. She was like, "Oh, I think your friend is cute," and I was like, "What?
See, and
How
like
old are you?"
that's another thing. Like for us, like that is so weird because in our cultures, right? That's not something you do. Because like if one of us like back in the States did something like that, or one of our guy friends did that, that's statutory rape
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
That's
But here,
that's
that's not a thing.
but for here, yeah, here it's not a thing.
It's wild.
It's crazy.
And the fact that they find this
Normal.
such a, yeah, and then such young girls are, I don't know.
Yeah. And then like mental health is another thing.
Right.
Where, like they just like
No,
And it's not like they really like
yeah.
there's not really like any good screening, right?
Yeah.
For these girls to really
Yeah.
get it or like
We don't have a healthcare system here.
No awareness at all.
I mean, didn't you guess? I can't remember.
right. And
Medicine's cheap.
they're not gonna be able
Yeah, medicine. You get
Well, you can't get that.
Yeah,
So
you
that's
want
crazy.
for it.
But I mean, you go and see a doctor for an ear infection, they say, you know what, you need antibiotics, but I'm not going to give them to you.
Yeah.
Look at your ear.
But that's when we just have to resort to ask.
It's like,
Right.
And if they're practicing doctors.
I mean, it's fine now. We know what we're doing, but like a year ago, we were like
We were lost.
2 months,
Like
2 months into medical school. I
Yeah.
don't know what the hell I'm looking at.
Like how I got that.
Right.
Treated me so. Like,
What's this?
yeah, this was like ND1, I think.
Yeah.
Not the black
The beach.
No, my nail started to come because there was
when you went to the beach.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's another thing. The beaches here are so filthy, right? So like I got a bacterial, a fungal infection, and it started like eating my nail bed,
Damn.
and so I had to get medicine.
felt
Yeah, and so I had to get medicine, and I had to treat myself, and then I showed Dr. Guy. He was, yeah, that's that. And he goes, "What are you using to treat it?" And I said, he goes, "Okay, yeah, treat that for 2 weeks if it doesn't get better."
Yeah, he's really good.
I got it. He's really cool.
Thank you. And he is very, very good.
Amazing.
He looks at it and he's
amazing
like,
person. Yeah, it's great.
he's great.
I was so it's really
He's really good at what he does.
Yeah.
And he, like, you ask him something, I showed him like my blood test from, and I was like, why did that happen? Or like, you know, why did my iron go down, this and that? He to the nerve of the problem better than my doctor explained. It makes sense. Why, like, you know, I never had like iron problems or whatever in my life, and then I was like, and then he was like, oh, it's the way he narrowed it down, and then the way he explained it to me, it just made so much more sense.
he has made so many things make so much sense that never made sense.
The way he like brought it down, and he was like, "This is the problem. It's calcium. It's milk. This is a change in your diet." And I mean, and
Because your diet, especially not like any citruses, they don't have fresh milk. It's powdered milk or that boxed milk, which is powdered milk
Right.
that's just been reconstituted. And then it's really hard to get, because you're vegetarian, it's hard to get the stuff that you need in your halal, and it's hard to get the stuff that you need. And like and then like stuff is so expensive. So like at Thomas, it's $2.50. It's 2.5 pounds of potatoes for 5 EC, but at the grocery store, it's 5 EC for
Right.
a pound of potatoes.
It's like they're just because they're across school, they're like
Yeah,
making
Yeah,
everything.
and then like
They're always at
broccoli is $22 a pound.
bro. Cauliflower is like 15 EC, bro. Damn.
Is it?
Expensive.
And so like
It's
pretty much
expensive.
the
No
only
fruits. I haven't had fruits. The only time I have it when they have like a 5 EC fruits.
yeah I haven't had fruit in so long. It's
Right? Like it's crazy. Like,
Then
how much were the strawberries? 30
dude,
EC?
no, 48 EC for a pound of strawberries.
I looked at it, I'm like, God.
That's like $20 almost
That's-
Canadian.
that's a
$25.
Yeah, because the
5 times the price.
yeah, it's wild.
the
Or
only
like
time I've had water here was when we ordered it, and then she couldn't get it anymore, and I've been living off of that 7-pound watermelon for like the past 3 weeks, and it's like
don't drink watermelon.
Once I ordered and it was like freaking yellow or green or
Oh, okay. You mean
there's
the
yellow
flash?
one.
The flash?
yeah,
Yeah,
no, I in a bar freaking yellow.
Was it
Yeah.
good?
The only,
yeah, they taste the same.
Yeah, but it
the only,
Yellow. Yellow.
yeah,
was my first time. I've never seen those.
the only fruit that I've seen that isn't expensive here is the sour sap. That's the only
Yeah.
one that I've seen.
Guava.
And guava and banana and guava's good. Those are the only 3 fruits that I've seen that are like in any way a
Sugar apple.
I hate those.
Yeah, those are so good.
There's
Dave likes
Plum
them
rolls,
too.
like plum rolls.
Sitafal. What is it called?
The one that's green?
Yeah.
I don't know what this is.
Golden apple?
Sugar apple.
There's sugar apple, golden apple.
Golden apple, probably called.
Dude, I like wax apple. I haven't seen wax apple recently. Are they out of season?
Are they the green ones?
No, the wax apples are the like bell-shaped pink
I
things.
thought
Oh, I
that
know
was
which
plum
one
rolls.
you're
I thought that was plum
No, that's also there's different ones that two different fruits,
Oh,
two different fruits, and they look almost exactly the same.
Really?
But one has the texture of an apple, and one has the texture of
Oh. Let me
Let me
see.
see.
That's sour sap, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's sour
That's
sap.
sugar
Let me
apple.
see.
Sour sap.
No.
that's sour sap. Yeah.
No, it's the
No, no,
same
no,
one.
no, no.
That is literally the only thing
No, it's
besides
bananas.
watermelon and bananas. And
Oh, that
watermelon
is
is
yeah, that's sugar.
Watermelon is so
That's
expensive.
sugar.
that's so expensive.
That's sugar.
That's sugar.
But the other
Sour
one was sour
sap
sap.
is actually like sour.
Let me see. Let me see.
This is
I like.
sweet.
Let me see.
I like sap.
Yeah, that's sugar.
I've never had this.
It's
I
you've
just-
never
I
had
just-
this?
Disgusting.
It's
I'm gonna
No,
have
you
to.
have to try.
It is
Okay,
so
I'll
sweet.
It's sweet. It's sweet. It's very sweet.
I like sweet stuff.
Yeah, look
It's
at
gonna
me.
give me
Look
diabetes.
up.
It's gonna give me
This
diabetes.
is sweet. This is very
No,
sweet.
it is.
That's
sweet.
what I mean. It's gonna give me diabetes. If I'm
Yeah,
already,
we actually have ice cream made out of this. It's actually
you know, if I'm already on the edge, that'll be my tip
Yes.
for diabetes.
Which one? What?
And she was like, "Can you bring
The
sugar
apple?
Yeah,
You like the damla?
no, I'm just saying if I eat it, that's diabetes.
But no, they don't even sell them because they actually can't. You can't ship them. It's fine.
That you
Like
could
a
break
big
focus.
Yeah.
When I'm
You have to
home,
eat it immediately.
I eat everything. When I'm home, I eat absolutely everything and anything in my
My
sight.
parents specifically go to the
steak.
store.
You know, like I don't particularly like my mother's cooking to the point because she uses a lot of vegetables, right? But when I go home now, because I can't have vegetables here, I will eat every vegetable that I have in my sight. Every single vegetable that I have in my sight, doesn't matter if it's a carrot. I'm not a big fan of carrots. I will eat it.
Me
I know.
and my roti. My mom was so surprised I was making because I don't.
Because you're deprived of everything. bro.
Deprived?
Yeah.
And tortilla mix, nothing.
Yeah, and of course,
You can't
flour
afford
is
it.
such bad.
But you're so close to South America, right? You're so close to South America. I wish you could just a little, you know?
Yeah, no, like
It's stupid that they
You know,
get their
there's-
shipment from US and not South
Yeah.
America and Mexico.
It's like it's closer.
like
There are shipments from
They have shipments from France.
when we'll bring our own flour back from the States to make stuff.
Where are they
because
getting the
the
yogurt
flour
from?
here
Because
is
they're out
so
all the
bad.
time.
They are.
Like we can't make
sorry.
rotis because the flour is so bad.
Even
And,
when you
and
strain
we
it, it
can't
doesn't
make
work.
good tortillas either.
Yeah, I
because the flour
tried.
is so
I
bad.
tried.
And then like I have some baker sitting there trying to make stuff, and like the quality is just so bad. Like it affects how good. I mean, I still manage to make stuff taste good,
Me?
but
Yeah.
oh, and then shedding hair right here because like
You
the
need to
water.
take care of it.
The water isn't bad here, but like the
Yeah.
environment, the humidity, the heat, the natural runoff,
The lack
the natural runoff
and the
that
lack
gets
of
into the water,
nutrition.
the lack of nutrition, because like pretty much all you can do, like it's stuff is so expensive here. Like pretty much all you can live off of is like rice and bread,
You need vitamins.
and
You
then
need
like
vitamins
and then it's
to
so
survive.
hard to get meat, and then like you're vegetarian, you're halal, and so then for us who can eat the meat, it's hard to get the meat because it's expensive, and you have to like wander around the island trying to find food because it's just so hard, and there's like no proteins that are like
And when you do order food, even if it's cheap, it's all grains.
yeah, it's all rice and
It's all grains.
Like a tiny piece of chicken.
yeah, with
Yeah.
tiny piece of chicken,
Yeah.
and like half the time it doesn't taste very good. Like it's
It's a nightmare.
It's pretty bad, yeah. And then like potatoes is also the like
There have been
it's pretty
very
miserable.
actually there has never been a being or it was hard for me being vegetarian. Never ever like no matter where I have went, this is probably the only time I've felt it's really difficult. Yeah, I mean I don't want to eat like you know, and I don't care, but it's like probably the most difficult times with food. I've never had to deal with it before.
And then the worst thing is right now they're also like because potatoes and dairy products. You can get all your vitamins and minerals from potatoes and a dairy product. They're out of potatoes right now.
Yeah.
Saw them at Sunrise.
Yeah, but they're like barely any. Because I was also at Sunrise and there was like barely any, and then at Massey's
Did after you left?
maybe after I left. Yeah.
You should went.
When did you go?
Was it like 5:00?
When? Where?
Sunrise.
Oh, I was there at 11.
No, 4:30.
4:30.
Yeah, but they didn't have like
But they-
potatoes.
The shelves were empty. I think they were
Yeah.
like still getting shipment and stuff. So
And then they were out of.
when I saw they had
Do you need potatoes, Rick?
Oh no, I bit the bullet and bought the little amount of potatoes they had. That was like
Did you not go to Thomas?
they were out of Thomas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And they always have potatoes.
and they always
They
do.
do.
That's
And
crazy.
so they didn't have any potatoes. Like I'm called the potato girl.
Really?
Yeah,
She didn't know you that.
I only go there for potatoes. So they'll walk. Oh, it's here. They're like, how many potatoes are you getting today? So, sometimes I'll go and get you guys potatoes too.
Yeah.
So there was one time I went and I got like 8 bags of potatoes, which is, 8 bags of potatoes times 2.5 pounds. That's a lot of.
That's a lot of
That's a
potatoes.
lot of potatoes. And so they're like, "What are you doing with all those potatoes?" I was like, "Oh, make some curry," because I was making Japanese curry that weekend, and so that was what my potatoes were being used for. I didn't know what you guys were using your potatoes for, but like that's a lot of curry. And
That's a lot of curry, yeah.
he's like, "Can I have some?" I'm like, I don't know you like that, man. And then they're always asking, like, where do I live? I'm like, I just live in the hills. Like, I don't think they.
You like live near Bel Air, the guy Gary? The one.
Yeah, all the taxi people, the skinny white guy in the way.
Basically.
And a lot of taxi drivers also know our purpose.
That is
I've
true.
noticed. Yeah, because we have people come over all the time.
Yeah.
So taxi drivers now know where our apartments are. And so you just tell them, hey, it's this person's apartment. And they're like, oh, I know where that, and they'll go. Yeah.
We can't disclose it here.
Yeah.
Moral of the story is, if you're trying to come to the island, do your research.
Yeah. So moral of the story, we're blabbing for an hour and a half. The moral of the story is really, really, really think about coming to this island, especially if you're a woman. It's really difficult for a lot of us to just function on a normal daily basis because it's hard to get ingredients. You're gonna be
Be thick
nutrition.
skinned.
Yeah, be thick skinned. Be very thick skinned.
Have a support system.
Have a support system. Make sure that is number one rule. Before anything else, make sure you have a support system because honestly, you're gonna go through. No matter how mentally healthy you were before coming to this island, you're gonna go through some real bad shit. You're gonna potentially lose a classmate to suicide. You're going to potentially lose people because they have to go get mental help or they have to go get medical help because it's just not accessible here. You're gonna see people have mental breakdowns. You're gonna see people have just
change.
People are gonna change. You're gonna know the person you knew in MD1 is not gonna be the same person you know in
Definitely, 100%.
You're gonna go through a lot of stuff here, especially as a woman, that you probably never went through in your life. You're gonna have nutritional deficiencies for sure. All of us have nutritional deficiencies. You're gonna lose your hair. We've all seen hair.
I was already going bald.
You were already going bald, so but like Gabe has been losing his hair ever since he came here. And
Kid you not, I had double the size of
yeah, we've just been losing our hair. And it's because we're not getting the right nutrition. And
That's not right.
or our hair turning gray. That's what happened too. Get a lot more gray hair. Just really, if you have the ability to ask someone who lives on the island that you're going to talk with both male and female of what it's like living on the island because they're going to be very honest with you about what it's like how much it costs to live, how accessible stuff is.
If there's mental health resources,
if it's safe. Because like I would say it's both unsafe and safe here and for different reasons. Our landlord is a very wonderful lady and she has a lot of security measures on our apartments. But not all apartments are that secure. Like the apartments near school have constantly been broken into and stuff has been stolen. So really just research before, not just what the school is like, but what the area is like. Because you're going to have a very, very big culture shock. I cried a lot when I first because I was so scared and I was so uncomfortable. I had never been catcalled in my life, right? And so not only had I never been catcalled, but then the aggressiveness of the catcalling is unsettling because they will touch you, they will follow you, they will put weapons in your face, they will figure out where you live, they will get up in your business.
It's a really small island.
It's a very small island, yes. And I've had encounters with really nice people on this island, but I've also had significant encounters of bad people on this island. And the amount of people that will just whip their dick out is too much.
It's a lot.
I think I see a random person's dick at least once.
Yeah,
like one more. And this is from school. Like, you can be looking out the window and there'll be a guy who just whips his dick out and starts pissing on the wall. Like, that's of the school. And that's, like, very normal for them to do that here. And then they like, throw their trash everywhere, too. Like, they don't have trash cans. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a trash can.
I've seen one, and it's by our school. Just one.
Yeah, but that's, like, Jimmy's trash
But that's our trash can.
Yeah, that's our trash can. But, like, I don't think I've seen just a random trash can.
Now that I think about it.
In Kingstown there are a lot, but not in like in Kingstown. Oh, I've noticed because I don't
go to Kingstown.
After that encounter.
Encounters of being proposition.
Yeah, I try to stay away.
I was in Kingstown for the first time with Gabe the other day, and it was very odd to be able to walk around without being harassed.
Right.
Because, like, and here's the thing. It's not if it's the same color. Because when I'm with Kaban, who's black, I get harassed just as much as if
because they just assume like, oh, he's gonna join in or something.
Yeah, and so I don't get harassed when I'm with Gabe, and vice versa. Gabe talked about the fact that when he was with an islander, a woman, she got harassed and he got harassed because he was with
Huh.
an island woman.
Interesting.
But when we're together, because we're both white, we don't get harassed. But when we're with someone of another color,
Another
we
research
get
study we can do.
yeah. And so it's really interesting to see that. But our overall consensus is do all the research.
And
Not
like
just
your
about the school, but about the people, about the resources, about your access to the foods that you need. Because, like, it's really hard to survive.
Actually,
And the more restrictive your diet is, the worse time you're getting.
like it's not a luxurious lifestyle, and
No.
like
I'm not.
if you really want to be a doctor, I would recommend you look elsewhere before. This should be your last resort.
Yeah, so people think, oh, Caribbean, I'm gonna be living a suave life. No, it's not a suave life at all. Do whatever you can to attempt to get into your country's medical school
Yeah.
first before looking into the Caribbean. Because from my experience, if I could have gotten into an American medical school, 100% would have taken that option. Would I change meeting the people I've met here? No, the people I've met here are really amazing people as we're sitting here doing this together. But if I had the chance to not come here, I would take it in a heartbeat because it's just not worth the strain on my health.
Yeah, physical,
Physical
mental.
and mental. And I've been sicker than I've ever been.
100%. 100%.
I'm constantly.
It takes a toll on you.
It takes a very serious toll.
Yeah.
You can't sleep. Some of the people here are just incredibly rude.
Toxicity is max.
Yeah, toxic is max. And then, like, it's just not very safe.
Yeah.
For sure. And it's not uncommon for people to just like throw bottles and stuff and trash and insults and weapon. It's just especially if you're a woman, really, really, really think about it before coming here. Some people really like this island and they think it's awesome, but a majority of people have problems with this island, whether it be lack of access to a whole bunch of stuff, like people who need medicine. You can't get most of the medicines here that you can get in the States, like ADHD meds or bipolar meds or depression meds. You have to talk with your doctor about
Yeah.
bringing however much meds you
Yeah,
have with you.
100%. That's true.
Because some people, they come here and they stay here for the whole 20 months or 2 years, however long that they're staying here. And some people, they go back every 4 months or every 8 months, not necessarily because they want to, but because they have to. Like, you have to go back and get certain things that just aren't accessible
or
here.
you just need a mental break from the island.
Yeah, or just need a mental break from the island. So we suggest when you're coming here, you make sure you bring everything that you can bring. So like your toiletries, your beauty products, your medicine, your whatever you need that will last you however long you're going to be here, because you're probably either not going to find it at all or it's going to be so expensive you can't afford to get it.
You can probably have 5 of those at back home.
Yeah, so like one of those things here is you could get 5 of them back home legitimately.
Right, like deodorant.
Yeah, like deodorant or shampoo or conditioner. So like I dye my hair and I use like really cheap box dye. So like the cheap box dye that I get is like $3. And I noticed it because I never have bought hair dye here. I noticed it on the shelf the other day and it was like 4 times as expensive as it would be back in the States. And it's a little $3 box, so
Crazy.
yeah. It's wild. Or how expensive just basic food is. Like
Yeah.
eggs.
The only other thing I would say is that, and no matter how fucked up the situation is, I take stuff with a grain of salt. That's just how I am. And sometimes it's not the best, but it works for me and it keeps me going. So the only thing I would say is every opportunity, no matter what it is, no matter how fucked up it is, and no matter how hard we have had it, I think for me, we have come out strong.
Yeah.
So I'm still like, yeah, if I had to do things differently, I would have probably picked something else.
But everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, but I feel like
Yeah, 100%.
not
Yeah.
less depth. I'm not gonna say that like I love it or whatever. But it's good if you don't have any other options or if you can't get in, don't let that stop you.
Yeah, don't let it
One
stop you.
good thing about this is that the chance that most of us that didn't have
It gave us that stepping stone.
it gave us the
Yeah,
stepping stone
100%.
So
So
just
use
think
that
of it.
chance. Don't let it, you know, and
No,
all
this is
these
not
factors things at the end of the day.
If you have a
The
burning
issue
desire.
with this is like so more people are aware. We were just kind of like thrown into this and we didn't really know much.
Our school never told us shit. Like,
It's
we would
crazy.
ask our school stuff and they would not respond. Like, I got accepted and then my, what is it? My counselor freaking quit. And they never gave me another one. So I was sitting here and I'm emailing, texting, calling the
Really
school.
bad.
And they were not responding to me. They ignored me. And so literally it was like a couple months before I'm supposed to come to the island. And I have no idea if I have all the stuff I need or if there's anything I need to do because they wouldn't respond to me. They just ignored me. And I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea what it was going to be like. I had no support from the school whatsoever. And it turns out there was a whole handful of people who were going through the same thing.
Yeah.
Like everybody's
Better
supposed
to
to
talk to people.
yeah. Talk to other people. Don't talk to the school. The school's not going to tell you
And to be
anything.
honest, we have so many students reach out to us on social media. I don't know
Yeah.
where they're finding us from, but
Right.
talk to students who, you know,
Yeah, talk to
wherever.
students from that school. Like you can find them. Just like look up your school's whatever it is.
They usually have a forum.
Yeah, they usually have a forum
Yeah.
on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah.
Like they will have it. Just look for that school. You will find people in that group
Yeah.
who are active members in that school. Talk to them.
Or even graduates.
Yeah,
You can
graduates.
easily find graduates.
Talk to them because they will tell you the honest truth about it.
Yeah. So at least this way, even if it's your last resort and you decide to take it, you're mentally prepared, and then you know everything you need to know to get through. And then you're gonna have like people to give you advice, and then
100%. Yeah.
you know, maybe you'll have a better experience than us. Who knows?
And
Maybe
then-
it'll be better.
Especially with traveling.
Yeah.
Like to and from like us on the island, it's hard to travel.
Very much so.
It's very hard to travel on and off.
It's very much walking on.
And it's it can be very expensive, far more expensive than what the school had mapped out. So, so it's definitely important to be aware that if they say it's $800, they mean $1,800.
Yeah.
Depending
and
on where you
just
live, it's different.
yeah, do your research, know exactly what you're getting into,
That's the one.
because depending on where you're coming, if you're living in Miami, that's prime realty for you to come. Cool. Just you'll be fine. You're one flight away. If you're coming from Nevada, like I am, or if you're coming from Missouri or any of those other other states, then you have to realize that's 3 planes you're gonna have. To take.
So for
Minimum 2 days.
Yeah, minimum 2 days. So I live in Missouri because and it takes me 2 days of travel to get here because of how the flight schedule works. Because they have one flight every 4 days that comes to the island, and it leaves at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Wednesdays and Saturdays. And thank God, I think starting in March, they're adding more flights. They're doing everyday flights now. But for us, the whole time we've been living here, there's only been one flight a day.
Initially, the first 6 months, it was just once a week.
Yeah, for the first 6 months, it was one flight.
One airline that does to our state.
Yeah.
So for us, it can be very difficult trying to get home because there's always a delay.
Yes.
There's always a delay.
The amount of times that we've been forced to stay in the airport or get the airport to give us a hotel because they've delayed so much that we missed all our flights. Like this last trip home, our last break was horrible. Our whole flight was so delayed that I didn't get home for another extra day.
3 days.
So it took me 3 days to go home because they had delayed my flight so much. And it wasn't just one flight. There were so many flights that got delayed that's why it caused me to be delayed that far.
Like that'll take a toll on you too when you have 200 other people crying with you because you
Yeah.
can't get home.
Yeah.
And the flights are expensive too. You gotta look into that.
Yeah, so for
Sometimes
me to get from here to Missouri to here, it's $1,000.
See, and for me, it can go from anywhere from 1,000 to 1,800 or 900.
I know for you it's like 500.
It's like 400 to 600 depending on the timing. Christmas is a little bit more expensive.
But you also have Air Caribbean that you can use.
Yeah,
We
so
can't use
I'm
Air
on the
Caribbean.
East Coast, so it's a little bit easier for me. If I drive to New York, they have a direct flight. But the problem with that is you have to book at least 6 months or at least 4 or 5 months in advance. If I do closer, I'm not gonna find a ticket under 800,000. For me, I've always planned out the breaks, which is why I've like paid a little bit less. I paid for insurance. I paid to like make the ticket flexible to change the dates just in case my schedule changes.
Yeah.
But I always book months out in advance.
Yeah, I always book it.
So it's around 600.
Realistically, if you can come to the island and see where you're going to be staying beforehand, do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it
100%.
so that you can get acclimated and know exactly what you're doing. Because if you come to the island like we did without coming and seeing the facility, without coming and seeing where we could possibly stay, it can be difficult, especially since some schools will put pictures of their second campus that looks much better than
Which is what
their
There's
the
no
other campus.
pictures.
Yeah.
Now it's like.
Yeah, there are a lot of landlords that will cheat you and lie, especially with electricity. I've noticed like all of our classmates. So our landlord is wonderful; she doesn't do that. But a lot of our classmates have been complaining about their landlord is actually charging them for their electricity. So like the landlord will rent out. They'll have like a house and they'll rent out half of the house to the students, and then they'll make the students pay for the landlord's electricity.
Right.
It's no sense of proper bills.
Yeah.
It's just like a random bill with a price. But
Yeah, but they can manipulate that easily.
Like if you could that is super professional and that you can physically see that they actually have everything in check and they have air conditioning because apparently now air conditioning, even though it's humid.
Look, it's a lot of people is on students and renting because like both of our neighbors on both sides realized that our landlord was renting to medical students. We're like, oh, we can make money off of medical students. Both of them are fucking bitches, and I almost fought both of them. No. I almost fought her the other day because she was doing construction at 6 a.m. in the morning, 2 days in a row. And then when I asked kindly, I do fight everybody. And when I asked kindly if they could not use a bandsaw at 6 in the morning right outside my window,
When the
she told me
9 p.m. 9 a.m.
Yeah, and when legally, according to the law here, construction's not allowed to start until 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And so then she's like, and I asked her, I asked her kindly, could you not? It's 6 a.m. in the morning. And she goes, it's my property, I can do what I want. And I said, well, legally, you're not allowed to do anything until a certain amount of time in the day.
But she was really nice to me and Natasha one time. So it's like,
no, she's rude. And then her and the other neighbor and her dog,
absolute disaster.
who and she keeps getting more dogs, and they keep just.
Moral of the story: if you can look at the place and you can make sure that they're not sandwiched between two cycles, you're fine.
Make sure the landlord's not just a sweet talker who's actually.
Yeah, so see if they exist on Google. Try landlord exists on Google. And see if they have reviews.
Have others talk to the students who live there before, because 90% of the times you're gonna
go to your school that you're planning on going and talk to students there and ask them, because even if they didn't live there, someone knows about someone who lived there, and they tell you.
We have friends that have moved in, like showed up the first day on the island, moved into their apartment, but within hours moved out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. People like randomly coming in, having a separate key and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to say one last thing. If you really want to be a doctor, it comes with hardships. But if you come to the island, it's double the hardship.
It's double the hardship.
So if you're willing to sacrifice all that, it's not just glamour, it's not just money. It's a lot of effort and time that you have to put into this. And on top of that, if you're going to Caribbean Medical School, it's double that.
Yeah.
So just be mindful. before coming.
Say that it's easy. It's actually quite the opposite. That's in our.
It's extremely
Yeah.
hard.
So overall, we just say, don't come in with
False hope.
false.
Yeah.
Don't come in with rose-colored glasses. It's
Yeah.
not
Be realistic about the situation.
Be very realistic about the situation.
Know your position and always know that, even if there's somebody in your class or whatever, if you do end up deciding that you want to come to this kind of school, realize that even if there's that one person that's always singling you out, they're in the same position that you are. They are in no better position than you.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone tell you you can't do something.
Yeah.
Right.
Never let anyone tell you.
Never let
And no
someone
matter
put you
which-
down.
Do
You're
whatever.
gonna end up in the same place.
Yeah.
Do whatever
As long as you
you
work hard.
And at the end of the day, no matter what we go through, we're all there for each other. And then do what you gotta do.
Yeah. 100%.
Don't lose hope. Caribbean or no matter where. If you want to be a doctor, go get that.
Yeah. You'll
Don't
make
let
it.
anyone
You'll make
tell
it.
you you can't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone can make it.
don't let anyone, especially when you like get into clinicals and stuff like that. You are literally in the same spot as people from American schools. There
Yeah.
is no difference between you and them. You might just have a little bit of a setback because of your lack of resources from where you were at. But realistically, you're in the same spot. You're gonna go to the same spot. It's just
Have
gonna be
the
a
same
little.
knowledge.
Sometimes the fucked up experiences you have actually make you stand.
Yeah. You're stronger. You're a stronger person.
You become more thick-skinned, and if somebody says something to you, it just brushes off your shoulder.
Yeah.
And you have it easier in life.
You do.
Shit.
Yeah.
I'm very positive. It's my little.
Why you
Positivity.
apologizing? It's a good
So
We
that's that's always buffering in the Caribbean Medical School. Like, if you have any questions, ask.
Let us know. Comment down below.
Comment down below.
Subscribe. Hit the bell notification. Do all the jazz. Likes. Don't
be a
dislike.
snitch.
Don't be a snitch.
See you
Like,
later.
subscribe. Bye.
Bye.